friends, welcome back to the Yitzy Guitar YouTube channel. It is New Gear Day today. Let's take a look at this. I've never had one of these before. I'm assuming this is the original Victoria luggage bag. Obviously it's seen some things, but really cool. And then you also get this with it. Mr. Wes Brown, Music for Dancing. Nothing on the back. Super cool. So let's go ahead and take the cover off and reveal what the amp is. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. I am so excited. This is a Deluxe Reverb from what I'm guessing to be late 67 to early 68. You can see it is a drip edge, but in addition to being a drip edge, it is a Blackline, which I have talked about in other videos on the channel. I own a 68 drip edge Blackline Super Reverb. Long and short of it is kind of the prevailing belief, and I tend to agree with this, is that the Blackline was a design error, more or less. It was kind of setting up the design, the guy that designed the new faceplate when they changed over from the blackface era to the silver face. These were the guide markers for the design, and then they, they forgot to remove it when they went to print. And, Fender being the penny pinchers that they were, specifically at this time as well, they decided to just run with them until they ran out, and then the next batch didn't have the line anymore. You can kind of see they're in semi-random places, but it does kind of line up for setting up grids of a design. So yeah, really, really spectacular amp. There's some things wrong with it. You can probably already tell, those that are really in the know. The grill cloth has very clearly been messed with, and we'll get into that more. The drip edge looks very good to me. Sometimes you see them really banged up, especially the grill cloth has been replaced, but it does not look bad. And then this looks like it's too far high left, so this has been installed incorrectly. Probably a replacement, I'm not sure, though it does look quite old. So yeah, and then all of the knobs look original. You can see these are the Snowman 8s. You can tell there. Looks good to me. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. Over on the back here, we can go ahead and see it comes with a blackface era foot switch. This would be from the earlier 60s, which is kind of cool. Otherwise, looks very good from this end. I'm not sure if this is factory, being this close to each other or not. I've never had a Deluxe Reverb, so just don't know offhand. You can see the original speaker wire there, and you can just make out RCA poking through there for the power tube, so that's good. I'm not sure what tubes it comes with. Speaker-wise, there's no date code I can see from this angle, so I'm not sure if it's original or not. And then we'll go over here to the tube chart. AB 763, you can see that up in the corner there. And this is later on where they don't have the month stamps on them. You can see in the bottom right, 047878. And yeah, pretty good. Now we just got to go ahead and take it out and see what's waiting for us inside the chassis. Let's see what we're working with here. Chassis looks very clean. Thankfully, not tons of pencil and pen marks like I've been seeing on a lot of Fenders recently. Looking at it a little bit closer, well, let's start with the transformers. That's kind of the big thing everyone wants to see, right? Zoom in a little bit. 606-744. So this is the 44th week of 1967. Exactly what we expect in a Blackline drip edge. This one reads 606-639. So the 39th week of 1966. So these are over a year apart. And then check this out. This is your output transformer, 606-552. That's crazy. Now, we'll go ahead and look at it on the inside to confirm it has not been messed with at all. But I want to show you guys something. Because first, when I saw this in the photos, I went, man, that's a giant gap to have it, granted a very late, literally the very end of 1965, dated transformer. But it happens. It's been known to happen in the past, but I've never seen one with that big of a gap. Until I went on Reverb and checked this out. 606-552. This is another drip edge Blackline Deluxe Reverb from 1967-68, and it's got the exact same year exact same weak output transformer. If we look at the other transformers in the amplifier, it's the same sort of deal, where it's got, this one is from 1966, just like that one is there. And he's got the other photo here. This is the reverb. This is from 1967. And this one reads down here, looks like 606-733. So it stands to reason there's two very clear examples with identical transformers that look original. And again, we'll confirm with the solder joints in the other end, but I'm fairly convinced this is 100% original. That's awesome. Really cool to see. Not common. Let's go ahead and check the tube complement really quick. So for the rectifier, we've got, a really nice Telefunken. That's cool. We saw RCA poking out with these, so let's see what they are. Oh, another very nice tube there. See if this one's matching. Oh, it is. Awesome. Look at that. That's what you want to see. That's really good. All right, preamp tubes. I will say one thing I'm not very good at is identifying vintage tubes and kind of being able to say what they are. Is it a rebranded Mullard, rebranded whatever else, based off of, what's left of the screen printing on it. So I don't know what this is. You guys will have to tell me. 12AT7 for the phase inverter. We'll breeze through these real quick. Maybe an old RCA. Barely see the RCA logo there. Really, really excellent tubes in this thing so far. Another RCA. Another RCA. Wow. Wah, wah. It's got tape on it for some reason. All right, well, this one will get replaced for sure. But there you go. That's the tube complement. Let's see what's in the Doghouse. And reveal. Okay, so we've got original caps, it looks like. Original Mallory's. Original resistors. They look a little worse for wear. Let's see if there's any signs of bulging or anything. No, they actually look really good. Wow, okay, that's cool. We'll definitely replace those just for safety's sake, but that's cool to see these in good condition. We'll go ahead and discharge the caps while we're here. These are 16 microfarad across the board. And here we go. Here's the circuit, and first glance, it looks so good. Really, really happy. I did not take the chassis out when I bought the amp. The owner had some photos he showed me, which looked exactly what I'm seeing in front of me. So I'm happy that that panned out. Yeah, looks really good. We can see there's, some evidence of mold, I guess is what you would call that, on the board. Not sure if you can even really tell. Just little bits and pieces here and there. No big deal. We'll hit all of that with some isopropyl alcohol. Clean all that up. We got all of the blue moldeds, which is fantastic. We've got the original electrolytics. We can see the owner said he had to replace a couple parts. He was trying to get the trem to work. I'm guessing these are the two parts he replaced. And this is obviously, the trem is not working. It has no depth. These are not the cause of that. So the soldering is, let's say, leaves some to be desired, but most of the amp is untouched. Original resistors everywhere I look. I don't see a single replaced resistor. I don't see any replaced caps outside of those three. Awesome. Really, really pleased with what I'm seeing so far. Let me look at the pots real quick. You guys won't see them, but I'll tell you if there's any replaced. Pots look all original to me, which is great. And let's go ahead and move on down on this side. Bias supply, same thing, untouched. Original bias cap, original bias resistor. Oof. This thing has been toasted. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll get some close-ups in a second. But this screen grade resistor is absolutely gone, so that will have to be replaced for sure. I'll just do all of those, no biggie. Let's take a close look at the output transformer connections, just to cement that this is the original. I would say it looks untouched to me. Looks like original solder. Tube sockets, let me look at those. Yep, all of that looks original and old, which is fantastic. So that's awesome. Man, I'm so excited. 3-prong was installed very poorly. There's no, you can see that it's missing the top portion to hold down the cable, so I can literally just pull it back and slide it out. So that's going to have to be redone. Not a big deal. It's really short anyways, the one they installed. Okay, I am extremely happy. We can see date code here, 3rd week of 1968, which lines up with everything we see elsewhere. They have parts from 65 through late 67 in this amplifier. You can see the pot Code here is late 67 as well. Yeah, this thing is really, really nice. I am so happy that it worked out. I'm excited to play it. So let's go ahead and work on getting a recap, fixing this. We'll swap the roach because that's almost guaranteed to be the trem problem there. We'll replace the screen grid resistors and probably the grid stops as well. Bias cap. Try and just knock out everything if I've got the parts. So let's get to it. After a careful review of the rest of the circuit, multimetered everything just to kind of see where we're at, there are a few other items I had missed originally. It's just a bit hard to tell when you're standing right above the amp, but once I got down in it, it was pretty clear. This resistor right here and this resistor, these are the slope resistors, 100K. You can probably see that they're lifted up now that I point them out. Those have both been replaced, obviously. They measure fine, so we'll just install them properly. Moving on down the line here, nothing really to note over here other than the 1.5K measuring 2K right here on the cathode resistor for, what is this, V1B? No big deal there. I'm okay with letting the resistors be above tolerance. It kind of changes the character of the amp and sometimes improves them. So I like to start with just kind of leaving it be, and then we can fine tune it down the road. This cap will replace or just install better because it's not great. Things get more interesting further down. Again, this is the first Deluxe Reverb I've actually had in. First one I've ever owned, first one I've ever really spent any time with. So this might be super common, but just something I noticed. I've got the AB763 schematic here, or layout in this case. And there are some discrepancies from this amp. And it looked like other photos, the amps matched mine versus the schematic. So I think it's all good, but this resistor right here, according to the schematic, should be a 4.7 meg. That is a 3.3 meg. Orange is 3. It's a 3.3 meg. No big deal. We'll leave that. Just wanted to point it out. Things get a little squirrely over here. It's hard to show the solder work, but there's, it's not great. Let's just say that. So these are both get either replaced or redone. Now this 220K resistor right here, this actually measures 450K. So that sucker is gone. This, I'm pretty sure, is at least partially responsible for the trem problem. So we're going to replace the roach, just preventative maintenance there, even if it's not broken. This cap right here, 25 microfarad, we'll be replacing this one. This resistor is supposed to be, according to the schematic, a 56K, but it is very clearly marked as a 100K. I cannot get a measurement off of this with my multimeter, so I'm not sure what's going on there. We're going to have to lift an end and just see what's going on, but I looked at other photos and they also had 100K here, so just kind of interesting. Moving on down the line a little bit, this 220K resistor, I guess would be what, mixing resistor. This measured 270K, which is pretty high. The other one measured about 240 or so, so we might swap that one, TBD there. The 470 ohm resistor here measured 620 ohm. Again, that's quite high, though. I'm not sure if I'm going to replace it or not. Just kind of marking, if nothing else, for myself down the line. And then these 220K resistors, which according to the schematic should be 5% resistors, so it'd be very, very close tolerance to 220K. And they both measure 260K. Now they are matched, which is kind of the bigger deal there, is you want these two to be very closely matched. It's not necessarily they have to be 220K, but they should both be within 5% of each other, I guess is one way to look at it. So they are, so we're probably just going to leave those. Now again, the schematic shows here the plate resistor for the phase inverter, 100K and 100K. This is very clearly an 82K and 100K. 82K measured fine, the 100K, 130K. So we might replace this one, but this one seems fine. And again, other photos I saw had an 82K there. So next up, the burnt screen grid resistor here. Again, I'm not sure if you can see that super well, but I'll show a close-up of it when I'm working on it. That measured 700 ohm, so, double what it should be. The grid stop resistors both measured high in the 2K range, so we'll get those replaced. The solder job on the 3-prong is abysmal. There's like no solder at all, and you can see a hole where the leads are. I bet I could just pull it right off. So that's going to get completely redone with a new 3-prong that is properly long. The resistor here, the 470 ohm, measured 600. We're going to be replacing that with another 473 watts, and then we already mentioned the cap and the diode. So overall, there is some work to be done, but it's not that much, all things considered. So, and again, we'll douse everything in isopropyl alcohol. Hopefully the board doesn't have a ton of moisture in it that is going to cause some problems that these, sometimes have. But yeah, looking pretty good. So let's get the soldering iron going and get to work. Well, unfortunate news, I do not have a strain relief that fits this amplifier. I'm completely shocked. I don't know how I ended up using all of my strain reliefs that fit Fenders, but there you go. I do not have any in my parts drawer here, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and order the smaller version of this size, which is no problem. Just going to take a little bit. So I'm not going to stop with the work. I'm still going to install 3-prong because you can still have the 3-prong installed and put this on afterwards. So we'll just give ourselves enough slack so it's not a problem. And again, this is my personal amp, so not worried about that one bit. But otherwise, we've got everything on the board pretty much done as a starting point. We'll circle back to the bypass caps and all of that. I just want to get it running first, make sure, make sure it's okay, and then we'll circle back to kind of all those other little things. But the 3-prong is important, so let's go ahead and get this wiring moved out of the way so that we can prep for the 3-prong. We'll do obviously a chassis ground for the earth connection, and yeah, should be okay. And apologies for the camera lighting. I've got the sun coming in now that it's towards the end of the day, around 6:30. And it feels too good having the garage open for me to close it just for the video for lighting. So sorry, bear with me. Alrighty. A bit ghetto, but I went ahead and zip tied both this side and this side, so you can't pull that out now. Obviously, it's not going to stay that way, but just while we're waiting for the strain relief to arrive, we can do it this way. I'm going to leave a bit of slack on all these leads just so that's just that I have a little bit of extra wiggle room once the strain relief gets here, but we're going to go ahead and go neutral, and that's going to connect directly to this primary using the lug of the courtesy outlet here. I'm not going to be using or hooking up the courtesy outlet. I just don't really see the point personally, so we're going to leave that alone. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it off. Nothing going on in the current limiter, so the amp is safe. We'll plug it into the Variac directly, 120 volts, and take our measurements. 66% there, that's pretty good. Cool down just a hair more. 17, that should be good. All right, let's grab a guitar and see if we got output. All right, we got functioning trem. Looks like it's working just fine. Now, little pops and crackles are gone, it seems. Maybe just the tubes need to be warmed up a little bit. Don't hear anything going on now. Hell yeah. Okay, awesome. Let's check the bias of the other tube real quick, and then we'll swap the filter caps. And yeah, this thing is sounding great already. Awesome. So we're now working on the Doghouse. I've snipped out all of the original caps. They're all 16 microfarad, 450 volt, replacing those with 20 microfarad, 500 volt, effectively the same thing. There you can see the size difference. And one thing to note with the Deluxe Reverb is the orientation is all the same. So yeah, you can see all the positives are facing me. Nice and easy. And we're also going to replace these two resistors, even though they measured okay. I'd rather just be a bit more stable in this specific amp. So we'll be taking these out and replacing them with modern components as well. So let's cue the time lapse. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So now we can go ahead and test in the current limiter just to make sure nothing was done incorrectly. And then we should be good to go to kind of fine tune and figure out any other remaining little issues. You know, a lot of those resistors that we passed over could be bad and might need to be replaced, but we're kind of taking this piece by piece a little bit differently than I normally would, just because I'm trying to get this done quickly and it's my own personal amp now. So let's plug it in and confirm everything is okay. All right, let's take it off standby. Got some noises going on. Don't love those. Okay, so something around the reverb here. Still got to figure out what those weird noises are that are going on in the background, but we'll get to that after we finish the recap job. So let's go ahead and swap these 3 dual 25 microfarad caps, get those out of the way, and then we can see if that helps or not and really hone in, but that's important, so let's get to it. Cool, so we've got all of the electrolytics swapped out of the amplifier now. Everything's looking pretty good. I think what we'll do is just go ahead and fire it up again, see if we still have those errant noises going on in the vibrato channel, and then go from there. Well, it's getting quite late, and I've narrowed down the problem somewhere around V3, but I'm a bit perplexed. So I'm just going to kind of hopefully show you guys what I'm seeing, and then I'll pick it up tomorrow when I'm able to think a bit clearer. But removing the various tubes made no difference. Changing the power tubes made no difference. It was just V3. With V3 pulled, this does not happen. Now, I can't really show you guys. It's way too loud plugged into a cab, so I'm running to the aux box using the oscilloscope to be able to see the actual noise showing up there on the output. So you can hopefully see on the voltages here, the plate connections are bridged on V3 and they go to this blue wire, which goes into the transformer for the reverb transformer. And then you have pins 3 and pins 8. Those are the cathodes. Those are joined together and they're going over here. And then you have the grids, which is pin 2 and 7 jumpered. And those are this wire, which goes underneath and it goes, I believe, right here. So bizarrely, I've got it on standby right now. I'm going to show you the plates. We should be measuring, according to the schematic, 410 volts because we have higher wall voltage today. Let's guess for 420, 430, something like that. So that's what we should be seeing here. And then for the shared cathodes, we should be seeing about 9 volts here. So when I first turn it on, it's going to go crazy with all this noise on the oscilloscope. And I'll show you the measurements. Hopefully you can see on the multimeter in my hand. So we'll start with the plates. So what is going on with the plates? Look at this. All over the place. The oscilloscope's going crazy. This should be about 9 volts. It's about half that. The plates, again, going crazy. Go to the other side. Going crazy. It's about half of what it should be. And all of a sudden, bam, look at that. Now it's exactly what it should be according to the schematic. I've got a brand new JJ in that position, and I have tried swapping in several different tubes. None have made a difference. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Yeah, just really not quite sure, especially because the filter caps around it have been replaced already. This obviously is replaced. These two were just replaced now. So what could it be? Not sure. All right, so here's where we're at with this amp. So in short, you guys saw the really weird voltages on V3, and that's when it's, the noise is going crazy, and when it settles, all of a sudden the voltages are fine. So something weird is going on with the initial surge of power when I flip it off standby. So that's kind of a clue right there. Pulling V3 eliminates the noise. Pulling V4 but keeping V3 in it does not eliminate the noise, though it does reduce it. So the worst case scenario is that something related to the transformer. I don't think that's the case. My primary suspects, to be honest, would be probably this 500 picofarad cap, maybe this 10 microfarad or 10 picofarad cap, probably between those two. So the grid connection of V3, which is, you can think of it as the input of the signal, that is this wire right here, which then goes under the board, and I think it terminates right here at the junction between the 1 meg and this cap. We've already swapped this cap, so I'm not worried about that. Now there is also this wire right here, which is joining this 10 picofarad cap over here, and this goes under the board, and I think it ends up right here or here. I don't have the schematic in front of me, but one of those. So really those are the two primary things I'm looking at that could be part of the problem. This is my number one suspect. Resistor, not as likely, but maybe. So we might swap this out too. But we'll start with the cap and just see what happens. But before I do that, the hard part is it settles. So when I'm trying to get measurements and check things with the oscilloscope, it'll settle and fix itself, and I might not have reached the point of where the problem is in time. So I'm going to really quick try with the oscilloscope. We're plugged into the aux box right now. I'm going to use one probe, put it on the plate of V, I guess we could do V1 or V2, and then we'll kind of probe in the other places with the signal going in it and see if the signal is getting messed up or changing from earlier in the circuit. So that's the plan. Let's give it a shot. Well, this amp is turning out to be a bit of a problem child. I don't know what's going on. I've had two fairly significant issues come up with the amp that have just vanished as soon as I tried to film myself diagnosing it. They've just disappeared. So I have no idea, what you guys have seen so far in the video. I don't know how I'm going to edit this together. Every time I've tried to film anything of me going, okay, here's the problem, let's try and figure it out. The problem is just gone all of a sudden. So the first major problem is just a ton of noise stemming from something around V3. I pull V3, it goes away. I'm sure you guys maybe saw a clip of that or something. The other issue I was having was the vibrato. I put in a shorting RCA jack just to check the vibrato. Again, I've already checked it. It worked great after I changed the roach out here. And yeah, everything's working fine. I thought I would just check it because I was testing the amp, playing it a little bit, and put that in. And all of a sudden, I had basically, it sounded like speed was almost maxed out, even though I had speed on the lowest setting. And the depth didn't really do a whole lot until pretty high up. And it just sounded really awful. And I could not control it, get any control out of it with the knobs. No idea what was going on. So I don't know how it fixed itself, but that vanished. And it's working great now. I just got done playing it for about 30 minutes and it sounded fantastic and performed flawlessly. So I don't know. Good thing, this is my amp, my personal amp, so I don't have to worry about giving this to a customer and it having this mystery problem pop up in the future. I'll be able to figure it out if something comes up. It's not the end of the world. So while I have the chassis out here, though, I do want to go ahead and just kind of do a couple final little things I've been wanting to do. One of those being adding in the, I guess we call them safety diodes to the rectifier. Just kind of a good habit to do, just to protect against a rectifier short, protect the rest of the amp. So we'll go ahead and add those in. I've shown that in videos before, so I'll just probably do a little time lapse of me installing that. And yeah, otherwise, I don't know if there's really much else left to do in the amp unless the problems show themselves again. Otherwise, it seems to be doing pretty good. So let's go ahead and take care of this. And there you go, we got the two safety diodes installed. So basically what you do is you just move over the two connections here. These are the plate connections on the rectifier. You move those over to one pin that's not being occupied. In this case, we moved 6 over to 5 and then 4 over to 3. So 3 and 5 are not being used. So the voltage is coming through the power transformer to the unused pin, then it's going through the diode, and you've got the cathode end connected to the plate connection of the rectifier itself, which would be pin 4 and pin 6. So pretty simple little mod you can do. Doesn't affect the tone at all, just gives a little bit of safety if the rectifier fails. With that, I think we're basically done for now. Feeling pretty good about this. I definitely want to record some stuff of me playing the amp. I've got the strain relief ordered. That's on its way. So once that comes in, we'll be able to install that. But I think we can go ahead and end this video here. Pick it up next time, playing it, actually testing it in the cabinet, and all that fun stuff. Okay, this is going to be a really, really quick and dirty play test of the amp. I'm in full dad mode. I've got a 1-month-old and another that's under 2. My house is crazy. I don't have many chances like this to just play the amp real quick. So I'm going to do that. No miking, we're just going to use the room mics, whatever. Room mic meaning the camera mic and my phone mic. So it's got pretty neutral bass, treble on 5, reverb will go 4, because why not? And see what it starts to turn on here. 3. Cool. Sounds pretty good to me. Not perfectly healthy. I think the plate resistors might be a little noisy, but overall, I think it sounds pretty sick. I'm stoked. Really, really pleased so far. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, see ya.